Hello, everyone, and welcome to Canadians with Disabilities and Their Allies podcast. And today on the show, I have Dan Trace joining me. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host. And so, as always, it's nice to have you join on the show, Dan. And Dan's from Toronto, Ontario, just so everybody wants to know where. Well, where's Dan? Brent, you didn't say where your guest is from. So, Dan, thank you for joining me. Thank you very much.
Where's Waldo, right?
No.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, man. And unfortunately, I had the pleasure of saying I'm from Toronto, Ontario right now. But it's a nice day out, sun is shining, and just always glad to talk to you guys. And kudos to you guys on your past couple of shows. I've watched each of them, and Cheryl's last one was pretty good too. But just happy to be here, and anything you guys want to talk about, we're here, man.
Yeah, it's always awesome having wonderful guests on like yourself and other previous guests on, who are advocating for change, right? And change to make things better in people with disabilities in their lives. And also people that are low income, right? I know I've got people asking me, well, Brent, could you talk about low income people, when people on income assistance or low income people or seniors? Absolutely. Even though, the show is geared to Canadians with disabilities and their allies. Allies could be, anyone that's affiliated with people that are low income. Maybe they have a senior who is disabled in their family. And if they're not disabled, they will become disabled in their lives one way or another. Low income people, yes, absolutely. They're struggling too. You name it. It means all of society. And one thing I've learned with advocacy, and I'm not a pro with everything, like some people say, oh, he's the king, he knows everything. No, I don't. I don't pretend to know everything, because I learned from people like yourself, Dan. I learned from Neo. I learned from everybody. And we all learn to come together and in our own way of advocating and putting all those pieces of the puzzle together and making it a better society for everybody. And when I have guests coming on from the UK, I had Mike come on, okay? And there's so many neat people coming on. I remember Mike from the US.
I'm trying to reach out to them again, and I think we're gonna have some good shows lined up if we get some responses.
Yeah. I remember Mark from the UK. Yes,
it's Mark from the UK. Yeah, and one of the comments that I made on the last show with Cheryl was, we got a comment on one of the videos, and somebody said that the PWD community has no allies, and it's like,
Wow.
Yeah, and that's pretty pretty blunt. But I mean, I can understand that sentiment, right? Because I mean, people are frustrated, and they don't see.
But
Go ahead.
Depends on who that sentiment comes from. Sorry to cut you off, but it depends on who that sentiment comes from. And if I'm going to take three wild guesses on who that came from, the fact of the matter is everybody comes on the shows, right? And what you guys are doing here is what you need to do, right? Get everybody together, share their own stories. Everybody's got a different story, right? Mm-hmm. But like, I won't go too deep into it. We can touch on it if you guys want. But like, especially this week, I've learned very quickly that, people that call themselves allies, some of them are just in it for their own narratives. And partially that's why I come on the shows to share, because like, I'm sick and tired of it, right? I'm sick and tired of people, ruining, so to speak, the hard work that folks like myself, yourself, and others in the community whether it be here or across Canada. And they just want to do this, and that's all they do, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. There's been discussions for the past year and a half. For example, one thing I saw about you guys, I just don't know how to switch my picture, but a lot of you have the derb symbol up in your profile picture and such. And that's what it's about, is like working together and getting the message across together. But there's certain individuals that just want to focus on themselves and their own narratives. And I mean, just as an example, we fought for how long here in Ontario? People that watch this here in Ontario will know, to get them to rate, double the rates of ODSP, right? And that would have effectively like helped a lot of people. It would have brought them out of poverty, so to speak. But it would have helped a lot of people in getting what they need in the community, everyday needs. But unfortunately, these groups that proclaim to be the advocate for ODSP and OW, once that was achieved, and people like Mike Schreiner, MPP Mike Schreiner, leader of the Green Party, and MPP for the NDP party, Chris Glover, along with other local representatives, once they got to that level where they were preaching for us and stating, yes, double ODSP, we need it, then those same people that were arguing for that turn around and go, no, that's not good enough, you got to triple it. What the, like, I don't got $20 today, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go to the bank, but what the fuck is going on, man?
Yeah,
so I learned very quickly, and just to touch on it, just basically, because I don't want to give this person too much clout, right? A lot of you have seen the postings that have been on Twitter and such, and this one particular person, and I don't even have to mention their name, because everybody knows, I'm not here to shame people, but this one particular person decided to take it upon themselves to pile on me for the seventh time. And as some of you know, I actually got my dismissal this week from City Council. And I just, when you're there helping the community as a whole with regards to homeless issues, seniors issues, I was even working on some Indigenous files and proud to stand side by side with some of the Indigenous leaders out there in Scarborough, only to be kicked in the nutsack like I was. It's a shame. It's pathetic. But, you soldier on and just try to come together with everybody, but like really focus on what these individuals that are calling themselves allies are doing. And it's not everybody. It's a small core group of people, especially here in Ontario. That just like to fuck with people. And like, I'm not the guy to fuck with. I speak back, right? So,
well, I mean, even going back to the comment that I put on the video about saying, because I actually responded back saying, I understand the sentiment, but I also said that I do agree that there actually are anti-advocates out there. And I mean, you're talking about that, Dan. And there are those people out there that are anti-advocates, kind of the wolf in sheep's clothing, like they pretend to be advocates, and yet they're anything but, right? And Brent and I can name call a particular politician who was a Paralympic. We don't need to mention her name, but she was a classic anti-advocate. That she just was like, here, let me show you my medals, my gold medals, and that was all she was about. And it was like, let me take away your bus pass, yearly bus pass, and too bad you're not like me, and
it's like eat cake, here you can eat cake.
Yeah. And she'd have like weird quotes where she'd say, people would be talking about rates, and she said, "Yeah, I know it's tough, if you're just more like me, you'll be fine." What
really condescending.
Yeah, and it's just like that doesn't help anybody, like not everybody can just waltz around and like say, "Here's my medals," like take a selfie with me, and that's
and that's part of the problem, because these people figure that none of us pay attention, right? And none of us are watching, none of us are following. I mean, just as an example, that one tweet that I was commenting about just a second ago there, right? The person put out a tweet. So I'm so glad they were stupid enough to do it. But they put out the tweet and they show, I was contacted by Dan's work this morning. Now, first off, my former employer was the City of Toronto. So if the City of Toronto is contacting me to talk to you about my employment status, that's a whole other ballgame. But like, if you look right here, and I don't know if you can quite read it, right? But it'll say somewhere in there in the top line, released without cause, which means there's two purposes you can be released on. Without cause, which means they just don't have work for you. I was a part-time contracted worker, right? So I'm not jumping on the city or the office of Councillor Paul Ainsley for releasing me. But the way in which it went, and then this person trying to claim for their own status and fucking whatever, that it was because of them that I got fired. No, I was fired without cause, which means I didn't do nothing wrong. They just didn't have work for me. What it boils down to is the reality of things is that they got sick and tired of 7 people contacting my work and making complaints. And I can't fault them for that, right? But at the same time, I always said that these people that did this shit, I will call you out and I will stand in front of you. And if I did anything wrong, would I be here with you guys? Would I be in the public eye? Would I be like, so people just, I just ask people and implore upon them to like, do your own investigations, whatever word you want to use, and look into it, because there's people, like you just said, they're hurting and they're not helping. And I don't know what we got to do to fix that issue, but I personally will not be the guy that'll just stand there and go, okay, hit me again. My chin isn't that big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm only going to take so many hits before I react back. So just to kill that part of the aspect of my anger today, I hold no ill will against the city. I thank Councillor Paul Ainsley and the staff for taking me on as a constituent assistant. And I know I'm going to be working with somebody in the city going forward, or, which leads to the next announcement, I'll be working for myself. Because just yesterday, the seat for the city council in Ward 20 was actually declared vacant, which means the next council meeting will be where they go to you, okay, we're going to have and they announced that it's a by-election, not appointment, so it will be a full by-election. But yeah, Ward 20 is, I believe it's Scarborough Southwest, Ward 20, and it's going to be sometime around October 11th. Look for my name to be on the ballot. I don't give a shit who hears this. I don't care who wants to yell at me. I don't care who wants to cause crap. You can't cause any more crap than you already did. I'm already fired. You know what I mean? You can't say anything bad about me because everybody already knows everything about me. So I implore even upon those stupid people that did that, focus going forward on what's best for the totality of the community. Because like I said on the True North Eager Beaver podcast last Friday, it's not about individual efforts. I'm good, right? I got my smoke, I got my beer, I got food in the fridge. I'm good. You're not going to hurt me. You haven't hurt me. So I don't know what you're doing. But going forward, work together to get the problem solved. Because if not, it's not going to affect me or you or Neil or Sonia or anybody else. We'll be long dead. It's going to affect our kids, our grandkids, any future kids. You know what I mean? So use your brains, people, when you're starting to do this shit. And make sure you do your research on people before you decide to fuck with them.
One of the things that's always bothered me is the, you get the disunity of the disability community, right? Like the bickering back and forth. And in some ways, like I said, you can understand it because people are desperate, they're hurting, right? And when people are desperate and hurting, their emotions are high. But it does no good to be squabbling back and forth and having these factions. And then, like, where's the unity? And I mean, it doesn't accomplish anything. And I mean, that's how the government, or I should say some of the government, wants us. They want us fractured.
They play against each other.
They want us weak. They want to keep us down. They want to keep us in poverty, right? So it's like the more fractured, the more bickering we're doing with each other. That's great for some people, right? They'll say, hey, that's great, but.
You're 100% correct, because like even with the stuff that happened this week, right? There were a couple of times where, because these people, part of my expressions, right? And if I'm offending anybody, I'm sorry ahead of time. But that's just the way it's going to be today. Like when these people are doing these things, they're not realizing how it affects the totality of the situation, right? So they think they're a hero for 1 second, but they're really not, because you didn't hurt me. You didn't hurt me. You might have hurt me for a week or two, right? I'm good. I'll be working in a week or two. That's just a contractual obligations that I have to keep legally, right? But you're just making yourself look stupid. Big waste of time. Big waste of time. Imagine, and like I said again last Friday on that podcast, and I say the True North Eater Beaver podcast because I really want you guys to check it out. They're just like you guys. They're doing their thing. One person's based out of Ottawa, the other one's based out of Kingston. Great people, but like they get down to the nitty gritty and they give it to you like this, just like you guys do, right? But yeah, big waste of time, and it just resets the focus of the fact. Like last night, I wasn't crying about it. Last night, I got a message from one of the new deputy mayors in Toronto. So if you think you're hurting me by doing this shit, right? You're not. You're really not. You're hurting the community as a whole, right? And I just feel sorry for the people that get affected along the way because it's not right. It's a waste of time. Imagine if we all focused on one fucking issue, right? We get 25 of us focusing on one issue. You get 25 things done. If you get 50 people focusing on one issue and you're arguing with each other, like you said, back and forth, you're never going to get nothing done. With this particular person, I just want to get that I don't know how you say it, housekeeping, whatever, out of the way. This particular person sold me a dog. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys point blank just because I know I'm going to get some calls and everything after this. This person sold me a dog. I told them I was having financial troubles. They said, "Oh, just give me the 150. You can take the dog today." I went and did that. Now, granted, there were a couple of times where I had to cancel on the person because I had work obligations. It was a compost day that I had to do with city councilor, and another time I think it was an environmental day, what have you. But this person also canceled on me. And then what this person proceeded to do was involve the Toronto Police Service on a civil matter, okay, which is total bullshit from the start. But then they took it a step further and contacted my work, and now I'm unemployed. So if your goal was to hurt me, no, you didn't hurt me. You hurt me for 2 weeks. But if your goal was to get paid back, I'll remind you, you just got me fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make it make sense or go hoop yourself. Other than that, I have no comment on that situation. Big old waste of time.
No, otherwise,
I care more about transit and the seniors and everybody else.
Yeah, and like you said, Dan, all this fighting back and forth, it reflects bad on the whole community. Like it's not just that it reflects bad on you or it reflects bad on the one person. Like other people are looking at the feeds on Twitter and saying, "What is all this bullshit?" Like people are like complaining about a frickin' dog, you know.
Yeah, and it's a ripple effect, right? Because,
you know, and it's like, why are you complaining about a frickin' dog instead of like saying raise the rates or like talking about RGIs? You know, you're wasting your time talking about a frickin' dog. You know, God bless your dog, by the way. I'm just talking. I'm just talking about like, why are you talking about $100 or whatever it is for the dog? It's like stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, if you go put on Google, right? You Google fucking puppy chihuahuas or chihuahua puppies or whatever, right? They're gonna tell you $300 to $500. So great, your price of $500 to me was okay. But I told you my financial situation at that time, right? And the fact that you carry this on months and months and months later. Like, for example, we all know we've all had some problems in the past with certain individuals. I don't know about you guys, but those other individuals have left me alone, right? They came in, they tried to do what they wanted to do, and then they fucked off. This person just keeps going and going and going. So there's got to be a certain point where that, first it was because the person's transgender. Then I was doing it to them because they were a senior. Then it was because they're poor. Fuck off with the fucking bullshit, okay? I'm not senior, but I'm poor. I'm disabled. I was born with a disability. Sorry. I started my disability when I was 3 months old, so I was pretty much born with a disability. It caused me frontal lobe damage. It caused me walking problems, back problems. So just like you said, let's work together. Fuck all this other bullshit because it gets you nowhere. Let's work on those transit plans. Let's work on getting those homeless people, like this fucking Greenbelt shit. They better stop this shit soon, right? Because not one single person has mentioned anything about people in shelters that need housing. It's all for affordable housing for the middle class. And if you listen to that fucking fat fuck yesterday, you would have made yourself sick, right? Let's focus on these people, the people that need our services and issues, because it'll never end. We'll be here another 20 years from now going, "Oh, fuck, what do I do, man? Shit, let's fight with each other." It doesn't make sense.
The other thing that bugged me too, and I told you this, Dan, too, is the person put a comment on Cheryl's video about the dog again. And it's like, that has nothing to do,
sorry, man.
like nothing to do with Cheryl at all. It's like, let me just put a disparaging comment about the dog and Dan. Like nothing to do about Cheryl or anything. And it's like, you put up like the shit comment on my YouTube, and you make Cheryl look bad, and for what?
Well, yeah,
and that's why, because it's all about the individual narrative, right? That particular person who I don't even got to mention her name, she's a fucking idiot, but that particular person is only caring about their individual. You can go online and Google this person, and you'll see her at the last rally that you had at Queen's Park, arguing with other poor people groups. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And then because it's not their idea, it's, ODSP, Poverty Coalition, or whoever, your idea is shit. My idea is the best. Listen to me. You're a fucking jackass. That's what you are. Mm-hmm. And that person I'm not worried about anymore. That person involved police. That person involved everybody else in the community, including my family and friends. I had my fucking mother calling me going, what's going on, man? Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect. Did I owe that person money? Yes. But good luck getting it off me now. And I'll tell you all that straight to your face right now.
Yeah.
Good luck getting it off me now. You involved the cops. You had me fucking fired from my job. And you're just a straight up piece of shit. So whatever that person says anymore, it doesn't matter to me. I want to hear from the people coming on your shows that actually give a shit and want to affect change.
Your mom's in chat. Your mom's in chat, by the way. So you gotta watch your swearing. that's one thing. But she does say she says you think that the person would be happy that Austin is being treated well and with love, you know. And the thing is you were upfront about not being able to pay, right? I mean,
and sorry, I even said to her, I don't want to, and I swear to God, if she says this is a lie, my mother will tell you, I'm swearing on Nanny Ma. I even said to her, I don't want to take the dog now because I don't know when I'm going to pay for it, when I'm going to be able to pay for it. No, go ahead, go right ahead. You know why? Because it was coming up to the time where I didn't get the dog with no shots. I didn't get no food. I didn't get fuck all. No chip, no paperwork, no nothing. Mm-hmm. So the fact you even got $150 out of me, kiss my ass. You owe me for all the food then that I've been fostering this dog. Like, what? The brains in these people, they don't work sometimes. Mm-hmm. And people might think...
Yeah, you kind of wonder where people where they're really thinking on this. I mean, they tell you can have the dog for this price, and then after that, oh, well, by the way, throwing nasty freaking comments like, yeah, I mean, and you're right. I mean, dogpiling the comments underneath another guest who we had on. Now it reflects a bad.
It has nothing to do with anything. It's a piece of shit comment on my channel, which I own, and it's a shit comment on Cheryl's video. It has nothing to do with what she said either. It's just like we said, it's a bad reflection. Has nothing to do with anything, and it's just. And
to make it perfectly clear too, that sometimes we all get in trouble like this because we add people's names, hashtags, or we'll add their name to rub it in. I didn't add this person's name for nothing, so that tells me right there that this person was stalking me, stalking my video, watching every fucking move that I did, right? Because I didn't put out to her, especially to her. I didn't put out to her, I'm going to be on Brent's show, and Brent's going to have Cheryl Hardcastle go make more insults or anything. I didn't put any of that out. She took it upon herself to do that, right? So that shows me right there that person was stalking me, watching my videos, and planning on doing this to me anyway. And they have the nerve to give that shit to me when I'm the one that contacted the people that they involved to pay back that money. And she insisted, no, I'm not taking e-transfers. You know why? Because she doesn't want to get dined out to ODSP. Now, I could have been a prick and done that, but I haven't done that. I simply said I can even Karima, and she can attest to this. She offered to be the middleman to take the e-transfer from me to give to this lady, and this lady refused it. So to her, I say, after that, I'm done. Sue me, fucking sue me. I got $400 sitting in my cupboard right now. Ha ha. Sue me.
Yeah.
I'm
you
not
know,
coming by your house
if she hadn't have killed your job, then maybe you would have had the finances to pay her a little bit more, right?
Well, that's the situation that it'll be now, right? So contractually, I'm not even allowed to apply. I've gotten 3 job offers, 2 from a city councilors and 1 from a Liberal NPP. Okay, but I can't touch anything for I think it's 2 or 3 weeks, according to my contract.
Okay.
So because of this piece of shit that did this, you know, I'm okay. I got my pay, and I'm going to get my pay this Thursday. I'm okay. There's people out there, and they don't have to name drop, you know what I mean? But there's people out there that know I helped them out, they helped me out, so I'm going to be okay.
Right.
But for that person to do that, like, use your fucking energy and try to get something accomplished instead of hosting a group that you've done nothing with except for disrupt the city of Toronto and block the streets and cost taxpayers money. You actually cost taxpayers money by having the police and everybody else having to come remove you off the street, lady. And you're complaining about me and a dog? Come on.
Wow.
Let's go on to apples and oranges or something.
And we all know that you yourself, Brent, were a victim of all this harassment too, right? From the same disability community. I mean, you were basically railroaded off of your own show, off of Twitter Spaces, right? I mean, it wasn't like you left voluntarily. I mean, you were basically forced off of your own show because I guess a couple people got jealous. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It's just like they just wanted to say, well, we don't want to have Brent get all the attention or something. I don't.
Publicity and all the drama, all the great drama.
So let's kick him off his own show because that's not good. So
it was because you guys were making fucking sense, whether people agreed with you or not. It was because you were helping the community. You were talking to every aspect, whether it be disability, welfare, ODSP. You were talking to everybody, and you were taking off of those particular people's narratives. And that's what it's all about for them, is their singular narratives. It has nothing to do with a group. They don't give a shit. And you know what? In fact, if that's the way these people want to act, they should go get some of these. This is like the nomination papers to run for council or to run for office. Go get some of those and run for office. You know why those people don't? Because they're fucking useless in the brain. And people might get mad at me for saying this shit, but I'm sick and tired of people using a disability excuse. I'm a trans excuse. Using all these fucking excuses that all of us are trying to fight for. And they're using those excuses instead of going, hey, man, maybe we should just help everybody out and bring the community as a whole together.
Bring them together.
Instead of my own. Yeah.
And bringing community together, you give people the resources, you give them the tools that they need, and they're all going to come together. They're all going to come to work together one way or another. They're going to put back into the economy, back into society. And the thing is that really pisses me off is that you get certain governments. I'm not exactly what Neil said. I mean, there's good ones. There's other ones that really, really care. They get it. They really care. And then there's other ones that, we have pick away at each disabled person. Oh, you can have housing. You can have RGI. No, you can have market rent. No, well, you choose to have that kind of housing. I used to get that crap at their offices. Oh, well, you're going to put yourself into a financial bad situation, Brent. What does Sonia think? Does she pissed off too? I go, no, why you ask her? I said, she's got a mouth. She can speak for herself. I don't speak for nobody. And so she, spoke to her. She goes, yeah, that's our decision. Well, and you can't ask for help. I said, you know what? You're talking down to me. And I remember a time, Dan, I said to this worker, I said, you're talking down to me. I had a mother, right? I don't need another mother, right? My mother respected me for who I am. She brought me up from, well, obviously there must be a difference there. I said, whoa. I said, don't you diss my mom. I said, she's watching over right now. And I said, karma will come back and get you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get me in trouble, Brent.
I wrote a former complaint against that, and they got a feedback, and they said, did you want to take other action? I said, no. Do you want her fired? I said, no, I don't want her fired. I want her to realize that there is good advocacy. And then there's that was before I got into doing the show. There's good advocacy about seeing change for the better of helping people and listening to what their needs are versus a narrative of saying, oh, well, this is a script. We need to read from a script. Because script, I said, give me some scissors. I'll cut them right up right now because it's not working, right? and so I guess going forward, what I want to say to people listening to the podcast today, and for everybody watching, there's no right or wrong way when it comes to different advocacies. On the good part of it, right? We need to work together. We need to work together collectively as a society. Yeah, I don't always agree with certain things that there's other advocates, maybe they approach on different ones where maybe they want CRPD, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and knows where I'm going with that one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want stability, right? We want stability.
I always talk about we all want to push the same rock up the hill, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's the same rock. We're all pushing the same rock up the hill.
And the thing is, how do we get there? We have steps. We have goals to get to those goals. And once we achieve that goal, is like we're saying, yay, look what we've accomplished. Can we do more? Yeah. We push each other up. We push each other up. That's the key word, everybody. Up, not down. Right?
And sorry, Dan. I was just going to say, and talking about good advocacy and good allies. I started off the show saying I got a comment saying we have no good allies, but I'm working on a show, and I'm hoping this will come to fruition. In contact with Mike Maurice and Benita Zarrillo. I'm hoping to get them both on to talk about the e-petition. So I don't know if they'll both come on. I'm hoping so. I think it'd be great to have them both on. So you have that cross-party, non-partisan, talking about unity, like unity of the disabled community. There's also unity in government sometimes, right? If something's important enough, you have the Greens partnering up with the NDP, and I think that's great. Like we had an example of that in BC here in 2017. You had the BC Greens and the BC NDP. They formed a coalition, so to speak, and it was great. It was some of the best government, I think. I mean, that's just my selfish opinion, but it was some of the best government that our province has ever had, having those two parties come together and work together. And so when you see, Benita Zarrillo and Mike Maurice come together for their petitions, I mean, great. That's wonderful. And like I said, I'm hoping to have them both on. It'd be a really neat thing to see.
That would be really neat to have both on at the same time, because having two MPs, prominent MPs that are really been fighting a lot in the good way for the disabled communities across Canada, and collectively they want to see people's lives been changed in a positive way. I know some people are saying, well, they're not working fast enough, or their leaders not doing something, this and that. I mean, everyone's positioned in a certain way of doing what they're supposed to be doing, of making change better for their communities, for their constituents, right? I don't fall into all that other rhetoric of, well, the leaders, this and that. Like they could go into saying like the provincial leaders, what's going on in BC or the federal government, this and that. I mean, everyone has their view on it, and for me, I try not to focus on all that. I get it. Like people listening, how can you say that, Brent? What I look at is who's representing your community, not the leader. Who's representing your community? Who can you go to directly as your MLA, your MPP, your MP, your mayor, your city councils? That's where you focus on all that. You build it all up there and see who's going to represent you. And you say, well, why are you not doing this? Next time you vote, I guess you know what you need to do, right? You need to figure it out. So it's probably,
and that's what I wanted to say about this here. Brent, what's been happening here locally in Ontario too, and in Toronto, is that just yesterday, like, how you hear it on Twitter and any other social media, they're bashing anybody that's elected. So of course they've been bashing Olivia Chow for the past month, right? But what she did yesterday, I praise her, man. She set up a councillor named Jamal Myers, who is in North Scarborough, as the new TTC chair. And this gentleman I worked with in last year's campaign, along with 4 other councillors, because I'm such a loser and I don't know nothing, right? And by the way, 3 of them out of 5 won. But anyways, so they elected or they appointed him yesterday as a TTC chair. He's from Scarborough. He rides a TTC. So I know, especially with all the issues going on with Line 3, the SRT in Scarborough here, that's been decommissioned. He's going to do a great job. Great guy, automatically. And also, one of the 4 deputy mayors she appointed actually happens to be my city councilor, City Councilor Mike Cole. So yeah, I poor pity like anybody that wants to fuck around with democracy and screw around with what we've been fighting for all these years. They're going to run into a roadblock this time, right?
Yeah.
Like the one thing I hear about what Doug Ford did yesterday, right? I watched the press conference that he had. I fell asleep a couple of times, had to wake up, smoke another joint, whatever, right? But like anything he's saying is stupid. But people are recognizing, hey man, 43% in the last Ontario election, 43% of the people voted. He got 17% of the vote. If that's what everybody is thinking is a fucking majority, then they got problems. They got to go back to school, right? The fact of the matter is, like you just said, I believe it was Neil that just said it, like, or sorry, Brent, it's your communities, your local communities, right? Because if you already got that fighting in that bottom level of the local community, you ain't going to get nowhere at the province feds, right? Everybody talking about housing and shit. A lot of things people don't realize. Justin Trudeau and the federal Liberals actually, in the last couple of years, gave Toronto $300 million to go towards income, like low-income housing, supportive housing and everything. They gave it to the developers, and everybody in Toronto will know who I'm talking about.
I was just going to say, they give it to the developers
at honest beds.
Yep.
And how many apartments did they produce? I think the last count that I saw was 10. 10 apartments for $300 million?
Wow. That's
so people don't know this shit, right? It keeps going on.
What a great return on your investment, eh?
Yeah,
it's awesome, man. Awesome. And there's not even a store there anymore because they took out honest beds, right? So I don't know the brain capacity of the people that make the comments that they do, but get involved. And like you said, it starts at the local level. If you can't start there, you're going to get nowhere at the federal and provincial level, right? Nowhere.
Yeah, you gotta start from the bottom and work and basically tackle them and basically get them all working together. Like it's like what Neil mentioned too. It's like when we had our back in 2017, we had in BC, we had the NDP and the Greens. They joined a competence and supply agreement, right? So they can work together. Minority. I don't always agree with minority governments like fully because I think they're great in a way. But do they last? They can make it last if they work together. If they work together,
and it did work. It did work for quite a while. But I think John Horgan got greedy a little bit, right? He got a bit power hungry, I think.
Yeah, it was just because it was the voter account that basically said, "Hey, like popularity. Well, you know what? Let's just toss the other party out, right?" There was a lot going on with, of course, COVID, right? During COVID, the people call it snap election, right? Snap it. Opportunity knocks because the polls were high, everything is going good. Okay, well, they're handling the pandemic really well. Hey, what could go wrong? And that was right around the time that we were living in Langley, and
I'm still listening.
Yeah, Mr. Horgan had given a announcement about SkyTrain getting extended out to the Fraser Valley, up to Langley. And I was like, wow, this is great. Sonia, she saw it before I did. I mean, hey, kudos on Sonia. Hey, she saw that the premier at the time was actually in Langley. I said, what? I thought she was joking. And she was scrolling through. She was, no. She was, no, dummy. She said, look. And I'm like, dummy? She goes, no, I'm just joking. So she says, look. And she shows me. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's actually in Langley. Yeah, he's actually there live now. Oh, so we booted down there. Oh my gosh, I've never seen Sonia move so fast in a good while. But we got down there because the thing is, she moved fast, but she just had surgery, right? So we booted down, but we got down there, and John was so happy to see us. And at the time, this is where a lot of the advocacy going forward. I was really involved with advocacy already for years, but it's really taught me a lot, and I must say thank you, John, for a few heads up on what we've learned over time on that. We had moved into a brand new condominium Some people it was run by Strata behind the scenes, but I didn't even know that. Like, I mean, whatever, didn't have to deal with that stuff, right? So they're rentals. They were supposed to be owned originally. Last minute, the condo, the organization had said, "Hey, it's going to make the rentals," so they changed them immediately. And we saw it getting built. And Sonia, one time, we were walking around the block of the neighborhood, and it was really quiet. And we saw this security guy, and he says, "Yeah, you want to live here?" And I said, "Oh yeah, sure, someday, bud." No, you want to live here? And I said, "We could never afford to live here. I mean, the rents are probably really high." No, how do you know unless you apply? What? How do you know? Where do you live now? I go, 2 blocks, not even 2 blocks, like 1.5 blocks down the road. Oh, you live there. Yeah, you need to get out of there. Well, yeah, we want to get out of there, but because the landlord it wasn't a good situation, mold, mildew. It was just nasty environment that we were in. We were doing everything to get out of there, right? Manager, the owner at that time played tricks with us. We had a place, another place, and they gave it to somebody else. The management company gave it underneath ours. We were already approved for it. We had it. They gave it away. So we were pretty down and out for a bit. Anyway, Sonia spotted this place getting built. We went and talked to them, and they said, "Here's a business card." The security guy goes, "Here's a business card. Give the number a call." So I called, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll put you on a waiting list. When do you want it for?" I go, "Well, when would we like it for?" "Well, when do you want it?" I go, "Well, there's a difference between wanting and liking, right?" So I said, "Okay, a month and a half."
Yesterday.
You know, because we would have to give her 30 days notice, and I can't just give it in and then I'll have be guaranteed to move in. So open house. We went to it. Manager's like, "Yeah, like, what do you think?" And you have access to the 3rd and 4th floor. They cleared everybody out. Management, to who they had in there, she got greedy. The manager got greedy. She cleared everybody out. But before that, getting back to what I was saying about John Horgan, I must say thank you to him. Reach out if you're watching this, John. I must say thank you, because he was on a stage giving an announcement about SkyTrain. Okay, so I'll get to that. So when he made an announcement, he spotted us. It's like spotting a big crowd of people. For some reason, he spotted us from a distance. He saw us coming. His security were there, and he has massive security. I mean, it's like having Justin Trudeau, right? All security around him. Like John, any premier is going to have mass security. Well, the security knew who we were already. I mean, we had met John so many times at different conventions, and it doesn't matter. There was one guy who's like, excuse me, do you know John? Like, you'll have to wait to take questions after. And John saw us, and he goes, "Oh, man, my friends are here. Hang on." And he pushes the security people aside. He goes, "Don't worry about them." And he says, "I want to talk to them." And they're like, "Are you okay, John?" "Yeah." He leans over the stage. And I said, "Well, why are you here?" I go, "The SkyTrain announcement." "That's right." And I go, "Yeah, well," he goes, "You guys are here." I said, "Yeah, we moved into a new place." And so he says, "Careful with these corporate landlords." So that's the part I want to address, is that he said, "Careful with the corporate landlords, because they have an agenda. The agenda is to flip it over, make more money. Yeah." And I said, no, John. They know, like they're cool. Like they're good management. She's a really cool manager. Well, I must say that, because he says, "Well, she may seem cool, or he may seem cool, but they have an agenda. They may come across that way, but you'll see. Hopefully not." John, you're right. He said,
and that's one of the things that I was going to praise you guys on too, right? Like, sorry to cut you off. My delays are screwed. But one of the things you guys have been doing lately is something I talked to you about a few months ago, like RGI units across the board. And I don't remember if it was Cheryl Hardcastle or your previous guest, but you were talking to them about that, and they were totally agreeing with you. And that's pretty much like the way they've let things go. That's the only thing that's going to help everybody, because as it stands right now, I know you were talking about it there in BC, also here in Toronto, I think it's up to $2,400 or $2,500 for a one-bedroom apartment, right? I don't know anybody on God's green earth that's on OW or ODSP that's going to afford that, right? And to take back to that other so-called advocate that's the hero baby now, they were pretty much saying that, like, housing's not the way to go. And that's just the most dumb thing I've ever heard in my life, because if you don't have a roof over your head, what the hell are you going to do, right? Even like right now in the state that I'm in, right? As you guys know, I have an RGI unit. And even though it's only going to be 2 weeks or so that I'm going to be out of work, right? It could have been forever. And if that hadn't happened, I was in a position where I was paying market value rent, the rest of the however you want to put it, residual income that I have wouldn't cover it.
Oh yeah, and then that was a guest I had on before Cheryl Hardcastle. I was the Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction.
That's who it was. Yeah.
The minister for Nanaimo, British Columbia. She's the minister in charge of that portfolio, and I had brought that to her attention, and I remember what she said. She says, "That's brilliant, Brent." She says, "I'm glad that you like to think outside the box," and I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "But it would help so many disabled citizens in BC, not just in BC." I said to her, but all the way across Canada. And I said, and it doesn't even just stop there. It would help. I mean, anyone on low income. I mean, low income seniors already get it. And I said, all you have to do is extend it over to all PWD who live in market housing, because right now they don't qualify. And so I think it would be so beneficial, because yeah, you're right, Dan. Like the recent stats I was just reading that this morning show that in Vancouver alone, $3,000. That's about like $6 less than $3,000 for a 1 bedroom. A 2 bedrooms over $4,000. Now they're showing that the prices are now even increasing even more, because now we're in August. All the university students are going back. So guess what, folks? The crunch time's now on. There's no easy solution for the housing crisis. I've got some ideas, and one idea that I came out with is RGI. All you have to do is extend it to get rid of that. And I know this one person watches my podcast every time I have it on, and I get feedback, because I get guests who will comment underneath, and then that one person will comment it again and contradict. Look, bud, look, I get what you're saying, and I'm not going to call you out. You know who you are. And I get, we talk about food insecurity a lot too. So kind of a hint, and I think Dan knows where I'm going with that. Neil does, and I know for sure, but the fact is RGI, right? Yes, you live in RGI. Great. Not everybody lives in RGI. I wish everybody did live in RGI. I really do.
Yeah, because his comment was, well, I live in an RGI and I don't have a problem. That was his comment. I live in an RGI and I don't have a problem. So why are you complaining? That was his comment.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's like, well, the way you phrase that question is not great, or that comment is not great. Just because you live in RGI and you don't have a problem doesn't dismiss everybody else that might have a problem, because we're all paying market rents.
Yeah, because here's the problem. Here's sir, the one who mentioned that, I get it. Like, I understand, but the fact is, it's the system. Mm-hmm. The system. It's legislated poverty, right? And the minister who I had on my show, sir, if you listen to again of what she said, she admits it's the legislation. It's the way it's written, right? So we can change it. It can be changed, but not 2 years. Like, one part I do disagree with her on is like, well, we have to wait 2 years before the new system comes out, because it wasn't updated since 2002, which is 21 years ago. Come on. I mean, who's been in government for 6 years? But I'm not doing that who's been in government thing, like 6 years, 21. Like, I mean, yeah, we got to work together. Let's go forward. Let's raise the rates in the meantime. Let's give everybody a DERB, right? A DERB. Mm-hmm. DERB is the word. Yeah, DERB it. DERB. As I always say, DERB is the word, right?
One thing that I heard you guys say this week that I was unaware of, because you're more up to date on the federal shit than I am. Sorry, Ma, the federal stuff that I am. Is I think I heard Brent mention something about CDB was passed or something. What was going on with that? Because I didn't recall hearing anything.
Oh yeah, it was passed through royal assent. And that's it. It's a very weak framework. Cheryl Hardcastle talked about it on my last episode that I had with her.
It's still gonna take 18 months.
It's good, or she even said it could
or
take
longer,
2 folks. So yeah. The part that when she said 2 years, it scared me. I actually had shivers, because the fact is that I know people are suffering now. Are they going to suffer more in 18 months? They're going to suffer more in 2 years from now. It can easily be done. And yeah, like Joseph, yeah, you're right, bud. You're right again. Tom from Victoria, same thing. Like they get it. And I noticed that some people were even chirping in from, and I don't mean this in a bad way when I say chirping in. It may be wrong wording, but they were from the U.S. Some of the guests I've had on before about basic income. It's like saying it can be done. All you have to do is tax the billionaires. Like they get it. You tax the billionaires, the money goes back, and it's just a income. It's not a distribution. It's a distribution issue. It needs to be equaled out. Is where the problem is. It's all going to billionaires, the ones who are not paying tax in Canada. Listen, you want to do business in Canada, you pay your goddamn tax. If you don't want to do business in Canada, then get out. Right? But the problem
it's
is,
like I say,
yeah.
sorry, Brent. It goes right back to
George?
what I said before.
Brent
If it's not, oh no, I got a 20 now. I found a 20 on the ground, so I can say fuck shit, damn. But like, it goes back to like the individual narratives, right? Like nobody wants to work together. I encourage people, if you got nothing to do tonight, it's Friday night, right? Some people got nothing to do. Go on the internet and check out like whatever groups and everything, or newscasts, and you'll see like, oh, we're gonna produce 300 units of housing, right? If that were me in my community, I'd be going, great, awesome, thank you guys, and now we can build upon that to move forward. Yet, but far too often, all you hear is, that's not good enough. We need more. We just asked you for 20 units of housing. You gave us 30, but that's not good enough. We need more. You got to stop that shit narrative of that stuff because it just goes nowhere, man. Nobody listens. Do you think Doug Ford is listening to stupid people that complain about dogs and park their wheelchairs on the front of his lawn? He doesn't give a shit about that. Show some stability in your wording and what you want to do, because it's far too often any of these people too. You can go check them online, and all they're doing is yelling at people. And oh, you didn't put my sign up that way, so it's not good enough. And blah blah. Nah, man, who cares, man? I don't care if the people are purple, pink, man, woman, indigenous, black. If you're working, if you're not working, we're all citizens in this city. We all have, or this country even. And we all have something to contribute, like you guys were saying earlier. And if you keep, like you said, some of the governments want you to fight each other. You know, Mr. Ainsley, Mr. Ainsley didn't let me go because he wants to be an asshole to Dan Trace. And to that gentleman, I give him full praise and for what he did for me. I don't care even if that he fired, because I don't got sour grapes like that. I realize it's a business. I realize that if certain individuals are conducting themselves in a certain manner, there's only so many times you can put up with it. But as a country, as people that all need housing, people that all need to eat these high-priced foods, like we got to work together on this. And if you don't, just like fuck off. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, right?
You know how many times that I've seen so many people in our downtown area in Victoria, the housing, the amount what they call housing. People call it their home because it's a tent. They're living in tents, and it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. And these people are priced out. A lot of people have their own stories, and I used to talk about this a lot on the Twitter Spaces way back when, right? I said everyone has a reason why they're homeless, and I'll continue that rhetoric, because in a good rhetoric, meaning everyone has a reason why they don't have a home. Just because they're in a tent doesn't mean oh they're homeless. That's a stereotype. That was an old stereotype. Oh, they're homeless. They're bums. They're useless. They're drug addicts. You know what I mean? Like there's reasons why people are priced out. You know what? There's doctors. There's nurses living in tents. People in this country. People are like, oh my God, really? I didn't know that. No, you didn't realize that, because you think that. And no offense, Mr. Trudeau or Mr. Poilievre or any of the top ones. When was the last time that you would come on and advocate and say, look, and admit, yeah, we got a problem. We screwed up as a country. We screwed up. Okay, why? Because we're allowing big corporations to actually get away with not paying their wealth, right? Pay a wealth tax. I dare one of you to put a wealth tax in, make them pay that back. Let's put a income out there. It's going to help every single citizen across. People say, oh, no, they can't afford that. Who can't afford that? The government? Taxpayers? Well, yeah, I get it. The taxpayers can't afford more right now. I do. I fully 100% agree right now. So how do we fix that? Tax. How many billionaires are in this country? Hell of a lot. Hell of a lot. I can't even count that many. There's too many. How many millionaires are in this country? A bit blow your mind. More than what any politician around the world makes. How much
challenge any of them. You put it right out here right now in Toronto, Ontario, okay? I'm going to challenge any of them on any level. Any Toronto City Councillor or the Mayor, any MPP, or any of the MPPs locally that represent our area here. I'll take you out in the downtown Toronto. I'll take you on a tour of what they're labeling as Skid Row. Let's go stay in a shelter for 2 nights. I dare you. Any one of you, contact me at DJT624 on Twitter, 624Dan on YouTube. Contact me. I'll take you all there. You know what? You wouldn't last a fucking day because none of them have experienced what we've all experienced in our lives. And that's, like you said earlier, why they're pretty much counting on us to infight and fight each other, right? And sometimes that happens because it happens in whatever, workplaces, families, even in the community. I challenge any one of you that say, you know what, you got to, because so far too often too, whether it be issues for disability, PWDs, even intergovernmental issues, right? Too many people are talking, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? Everybody wants to jump in on everything, but don't want to focus on what they should be doing. And that is what you're an expert at. That's what you're strong at. And by doing that, you can network and meet other people like we are today and that you guys are going to be in the future. But like to continuously just bash everybody, even if it's Doug Ford, I don't give a shit. Because if it wasn't Doug Ford in office, it would be somebody else they're complaining about. And I'm sorry, I'm no mathematician, right? I only finished grade 8. But I know that when you got a 40% people showing up in the election, you win a 17% of the vote, but yet 90% of the people are complaining. Come on, man, get out and vote or shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, and that's the problem. There's not enough people getting out there and vote, and they say, "Oh, I want to see change." Well, why did so and so get in? Because did you vote? No. Well, gee, what happened?
We had a 29% turnout for the mayoral race here in Toronto, the biggest city. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest city in Ontario, and if not Canada, North America, whatever. And you have a 29% turnout, so 29% of 3 point whatever million people decided who's going to be the mayor.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, so wakey people, right? But other than that, like, just get involved and like I said, get involved with your community. And if you don't have the numbers or the strength to actually run for office, volunteer somewhere. That's how I got started, right? Like I said, I have, and it's the last thing I'll say about it because I don't really feel like getting sued today by them. But like Councillor Paul Ainsley took me from nothing. Okay, everything about politics I self-taught. I learned myself. I didn't go to university. I didn't go to nothing, man. I taught it all myself. They brought me into a situation where they could show me how the city actually works and how to conduct yourself in a proper manner, even if it's a situation which you should throw punches. Okay? So every day when you're getting called an asshole, when you're getting called a cocksucker, pedophile, or whatever else these crazy people put into their narratives, you got to think to yourself, and I'm guilty of not thinking to myself, okay? But you got to think to yourself, look at where this is coming from. And it's not in a bashing manner, but look at where it's coming from and look at where those people are going to be in 5 years. They're going to be nowhere. You're going to be the same loser that was starting a group back in the day that you now fight against. And that's not the way to get things accomplished. So I rather surround myself with people like my lovely mother, like you guys here. And you know what I have to say, and I'm not even picking on anybody in particular, but even the people that have blocked me, even the people that have stated publicly like they hate my guts or whatever, I don't give a shit. If you got a good idea, bring it to me. I'm going to support you. Like somebody that has a basic income idea, if they hadn't played their cards right, I would have supported that idea till the end. Because that's what we need, right? We need a basic income in RGI units. And it's that simple. Otherwise, nothing's going to get fixed. But yeah, far too often people just, poor me. And that's just not something I am going to sit here and facilitate anymore. You're not going to live rent-free in my fucking head anymore, right? So that's why I love doing these shows. There's going to be another one tonight, guys. I hope you don't mind me plugging it. But a guy named James T. Fiore He's got a show on YouTube called Blackballed, and every Friday he does what's called Casual Fridays. He's a former candidate actually for Toronto mayor, but he's a great guy and a great advocate for social issues such as like disabilities, addictions, and mental health awareness. So yeah, Casual Friday, I believe it's on at 9 o'clock tonight on YouTube. But keep joining shows like that and shows like this one, right? I don't know where Neil went to. I think he had some early wifey time, maybe. I don't know, but
he'll be back. But that it's all about advocacy, back and forth of rather than he said, she said. And one thing I've learned over time, it's a lot of the doesn't matter who's in power, right? If it's on federal level, provincial level, and the governments are always swinging back and forth. If they spend all so much of that energy working together rather than letting the public, seeing what's going on, because like Neil's right, you're right. I mean, and there's a lot of people that are right. It's like there's a lot that goes on behind, and they can work together. Oh, absolutely. It's what the public, they put a perception out there to get people angry. Oh no, yeah, you want to vote for them, instead. Really? Well, why can't I vote for you? What are you gonna do? It's easy for them to say, oh, like Pierre Palep, and I'm not going to say, is he right or wrong, or Justin Trudeau or Jag Mead, like any of them back and forth. Someone to say, well, he should have done this and he should have done that. Well, how about come with ideas of how are we going to work together and get things done properly? Who's gonna make things better? Because they always say, oh, nice words, no words. Like, words are action. Words are great.
Austin just told me that Pierre Poilievre sucks, by the way. Like that's somebody that I would never vote for, right?
Yeah.
But like it's like you said, tie everybody together, work together, right? Like unless you do, it's pointless, and you're just yelling at air, right? I don't like to yell at air, right?
No.
This week has made me realize that really quickly who I can trust and who I can't. And the people that I can't are going to get a rude awakening. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, because the people I speak of aren't people that just say one comment off the cuff. These are people that I actually know, people that I've been involved with, people that have been involved with the city for the past 20 years. But for some reason, the city just keeps wanting to keep these people around to, again, it goes back to the same thing, fill the narrative, right? And he doesn't like when I talk with my hands, so I should, but like, yeah, that's the way it's got to go, right? And
because here's another thing too, though, Dan, is that when people don't have the resources as a disabled person in Canada, when the policy makers make these silly decisions, reasons why not to help people, I don't know why they wouldn't want to help people, because it improves their lives, improves their quality of life. It puts less strain on the healthcare system. Well, yeah. You give them the resources, it's going to better their health. Maybe, hey, they can do stuff in the community. God forbid if they do stuff in the community. I mean, no. We need to keep the disabled people tucked away. Yeah, just keep them out of society. Should we? No. We need to actually include them in society, right? Yeah. Because once upon a time they used to.
Without outing anybody, I just got a message stating, cut down your swearing, blah, blah, blah. Listen, Ma, there's some people that deserve, they need the swearing. Okay, this is me, right? The reality is, for everybody out there, this is me. People know me like this. And I'm saying this to everybody, right? Not just my mother, obviously. But I'm saying it to everybody. This is me. I don't need to be disrespectful when I swear. And you will never catch me like saying, oh, Brent, you're a fucking ass. Like, I don't swear at people. No, the swearing comes out because of where I've been and what I've done. Everybody thinks I'm a freak, but you got to remember, this freak was homeless 19 years, okay? And in the earlier part of my life, I was part of the system for 15 years. So I don't pussyfoot around. I don't hold nothing back. And obviously, if I was giving a speech in front of I don't know, a bunch of 90-year-old women or something, I'm not going to be screaming those words out there, right? But these words got to be said on one-time occasions, so to speak, just to get the point across, right? It's not about me. It's not about Brent. It's not about this guy. Well, it was this week, but it's not about this guy here. It's not about any of that. It's about the whole community in totality. Because one little chain falls off that lake, he's going to eat my phone. Watch. One little chain falls off that lake, and it's over. It's over.
One thing I've learned in life is never change on who you are. People are going to like and respect you for who you are. And I've learned that. I always remember that from college, from an instructor who said, "You are who you are, Brent. You don't change who you are. People are either going to like you for who you are, they're going to respect you for who you are, and if they don't, then they need to move on, right?" And it always stuck in my head on that. And one thing too, I've learned about being really more just being outspoken. I've learned that really fast on how the system, how it works with a political party. As a lot of you know, like I've said this before on podcasts, but I'll say it again, just for anybody tuning in now. And I won't say which party it is. I mean, I can if somebody asks. Well, yeah, what party was it? Yeah, which I'm
what
sure.
What party was it, Brent?
Yeah, well, it was for the NDP actually. Yeah, it was for the NDP provincial, right? So I was elected. Okay, I was elected under two different positions when the party got when I was in the community and where I was, and so I was elected as an events chair. The the community elected me. They all did votes, and I didn't know, back then I didn't know how all this worked, Dan. I didn't know everybody. I didn't know how all this, part of my language, all this shit worked. And nothing against the party, no, but like I was like, okay, like what do I do? They're like, just stand there and just put your hand up, saying, yeah, I accept that. Okay. Nobody else ran for it. Nobody else ran for the position. I'm like, oh, what? They're like, it's yours. I'm like, fine. Yeah. So you can now actually make a co-chair if you want. Well, I just said, hey, Sonia, would you like to be a co-chair? So they brought her on as my co-chair. The reason why is so that if I was absent, she could fill in for me. Or if I couldn't read, again, small print, really small print, well, now she could now read it for me or fill in. I then had to learn crash and learn. I had to learn, now you need to have a committee. Well, a committee, my own committee. So I had to form my own committee underneath me. How do I do that? Okay, people think, what? Yeah, I didn't know. Like, how do I do this stuff? Like, nobody taught me. I had to learn really fast, very, very fast. We had a president there. I got to learn, and I went up and I was like, I don't know. Like, I mean, how do I just ask questions? And so he filled me in really quickly. He really filled me in. And I was having an issue going on with a little bit of conflict under our executive at the time. As you know, you can imagine, a little bit of cat and fighting game, hissing back and forth. And I just said, like, yeah, like I'm having trouble trying to get somebody, one of my committee people, to do part of for an event that I was organizing. They didn't want to do it. They didn't feel comfortable. And he goes, well, if they didn't want to, they shouldn't have approached you, right? And he goes, figure it out. And this is the thing. Figure it out, Brent. Figure it out. You're the guy in charge. You figure it out. You're the boss. You're the boss in charge of these people. You are the chair. You are in charge. So I figured out very quickly. And I got some good advice from some of my other executive under there who helped me. And I cherish the memories on that. And the memories doesn't mean that the memories end there. I learned from building myself up. And who knows where that's going to take me in the future. With this show also, like progressing, okay, because it's going to progress. So yes, like there's things that Neil and I and it's probably going to include you too, Dan. Going down the road, and many others. However, I did my time with that pathway on that events chair. And that was fun. I still remember a mayor at the time. And it was all about raising funds for the constituency. That's what it was, right? It was all about raising funds. If you don't raise the funds, guess what happens, folks? There's big problems, right? So the mayor at the time, he says,
you see all these complaints that are going on right now about me. All these people yelling and bitching and whining.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you point blank, and I don't even care if the councillor listens to this or not. Yeah. My mother will understand, he'll understand, and so will everybody else. The reason why I was held, and you're going to think I'm bragging, and I might be a bit, but it's not to rub it in anybody else's faces. It's just fact. The reason why I was kept around, and people don't understand, like, I'm not just some crazy guy fucking talking this shit online, right? Like, this is my second go around with Councillor Ainsley, for example. I did 2 elections with that person. That person won by landslide victories both elections. And take 3 guesses who was the right-hand man at the door with him. There is nobody in the city of Toronto, and I'm telling you this right now, this is bragging me coming out. There's nobody in the city of Toronto that can touch my skills at the door. Nobody. I can get Austin elected. Okay, there's nobody that can touch that. But after that aspect of yourself, what it boils down to is, do you know how to answer the questions?
Yep.
If people have inquiries, do you know how to? Somebody like you, I know you know how to. But these fucking clowns online that thinking that they're the be all to end all, that's where they run into a little problem, right? I can talk to anybody about anything, probably pretty much except for property taxes, because I'm a renter, right? So, but I would brush up on that, right? And anybody that knows anything about politics, you hire staff in your office to help promote you, not to tell you what to do. Like, who do you think was guiding that person for on and off for the past 5 years on housing issues, on transit issues, and even motion issues? Because guess what? I got 30 and a half years experience at Toronto City Council. Okay, so who's going to tell me that I don't know about homelessness and this, that, and the other, right? It all boils back down to working together, because singular Dan or singular Brent or singular Paul Ainsley or singular Olivia Chow, none of that shit's going to matter, right? If you don't have the proper team there to support you. And if you don't have that support, again, we're going to be, maybe not us, but our grandkids and everything, we'll be having this conversation 30 years from now.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is having that support of people recognizing that you have a lot to give. I learned that for myself, and I was like so excited because I was like, wow, like this is something new. Like, and they're like, Mayor, I still remember this, Dad. The mayor's like, Brent, people know who I am. They don't need to do a fundraiser. Anyway, I wanted to do a burger and beer night, $5, and I knew the pub that was actually willing to bring in do this, and massive revenue for him. But it wasn't about the revenue part. He wanted to do it because he recognized it was an awesome thing to do for the community. He still made a profit, because what I did was I had came with this idea, and I said to Sonia, what do you think of this idea? And she was, the co-chair, and I talked to my executives. Some of them said, yeah, this is great. Other ones are like, no, the mayor, he doesn't need that. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? It was the MLA at the time?
Not mayor.
Well, mayor. He's the mayor now, but she just corrected me. Yeah, he's the mayor now, but he was the MLA. That's a long story. There'll be another show on that one. He jumped ship. He's now the mayor. So yeah. But anyway, so I actually came to a point of understanding with some of my other committee of, Brent, this is going to work. It will work. Trust me. They're going to go with your idea. And I'm glad they did, because they voted on it, all in favor. Yes, they all passed it. And you know what? It was beyond the amount of people that I expected to show up. They were beyond. People were lined up out the door. We had a big room for it, and everybody couldn't get in. People would come and go. The guy did such massive sales. The more sales that he had done in a year and a half, whole year and a half for his own business. He went out of business now because of just before the pandemic, things were slowing down before then. But anyway, long story short is I cherish those memories of that. I then got reelected again because I applied, and people were like, no. I applied for a communications position. It came available. Brent, communications? Really? Yeah. As a communications person who would be in charge of all administration and communication for the party. And I got elected. I think, no, there's no way. And who did I ask about this one position? And the person's going to be watching this podcast, and I'll give everybody a hint. The person that will be watching this podcast was my guest who I had on before, Cheryl Hardcastle. So anyone keeping count on when was this? Well, you got to subscribe to Neil Matheson's YouTube channel to keep up with the shows, to find out what's Brent talking about. Yes, I'll give everybody a heads up here. Yes, it was the former MP at the time, She's now the MLA for Ministry of Social Development Poverty Reduction for Nanaimo. And yes, I was elected in Nanaimo. I went to Sheila. And yes, Sheila, I'm just going to call you on a personal name right now. I mean, when you're on the show, I'll call you by your title, Honorable Sheila Malcolmson, right? But Sheila, I want to thank you for listening to me at the time, because I said, well, I don't know if I can do this. I remember saying that to you. I don't know if I can do it. And you said, Brent, if you know yourself, you can do this. And you know yourself. You know that to stand. And I said, stand? I am standing. Yes, it's called standing. And you're standing basically to be elected, right? I was nominated in, it was almost like, well, I was like an MLA or something. Like I was like, and it just gave me, it's just not really like entitlement, but of saying like recognition of saying, yeah, we recognize you for who you are, Brent. And the president said to me, I recognize you for who you are. You've got a long pathway ahead of doing things for people. And sadly, I had to move. My accommodation at the time, it wasn't a good situation. And so I resigned. I resigned from my position. Did it mean that was the end of my chapter on that situation? No. Because who knows?
It's never the end. Keep going, man.
No, it never ends. It never ends. I mean, a person may resign from something.
You're still writing pages of your book.
It's looking forward, yeah.
I was gonna say, if anybody missed me, it was because
we missed you, Neil.
This is live TV or a live podcast, and I suddenly wasn't feeling well. I think it's because it's kind of hot in here, so I kind of got a bit of a hot flash, so I stepped away, and I don't know if I'm gonna still feel well, so I don't know if it's okay to end the podcast a little bit. I know we were going to go a bit longer, but
just in case, yeah.
No, it's your health, man. So let me just end by saying, thank you guys for today, right? And like we always say, encourage everybody to stick together. I know I issued a challenge to any of the elected officials to go downtown with me, and that stands open, man. I'll take you guys anytime. But I'd issue another challenge. Anybody that even has blocked me or hates my guts or anything. You know what? If homelessness or transit is an issue for you and you want to work on it, why don't we do a double show? Why don't you come on the show? Contact Brent and Neil. I'll gladly do a show with you. And even if we butt heads or anything, we can keep it civil for that show and show everybody that we can work together and actually achieve something, right? Otherwise, it's just, applesauce.
Exactly. And it's all like communicating. It's all about understanding of. Sometimes there's misunderstandings of different things on different topics, and it's working and learning from each other on miscommunication of understanding. Okay, oh, that's what you meant, or no, I'm sorry, I don't believe in that. Okay, why don't you? And then it's like working with each other, working together, and communicating and getting things done. And that starts on a personal level. It starts on a political level. That's all change society. That's all make Canada a better place in so many ways. And then,
absolutely.
Politicians have people bickering back and forth and fighting about DERB, and oh no, petitions are not going to pass. Really? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what Mike Maurice and what Bernita want to put out there. I really encourage people to sign the petitions. Let's get this going. Let's make that. And even if it doesn't pass, okay. And I don't want to say to people, yeah, for sure it's going to pass. If they don't put it out there, I mean, I'm hoping it does. But if it doesn't, I mean, can we say we tried? We tried.
This is the whole point of your entire show for the last 2 years, Brent, is the idea that we're just putting stuff out there. All these people have been criticizing you or criticizing me or whatever, or bashing some of the guests we're having on, whatever. But the whole point of the genesis of your show was just to put ideas out there. And we don't all have to agree on everything, but it's just about getting this stuff out there, talking about it, right? I mean, it's like you talk about CRPD all the time, actually, but there's a few people out there saying, well, you're not talking about it enough, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Well, then and I invite them to come on the show and we'll talk about
and I actually did put an invite and didn't hear anything. But the idea that the whole show has always been based on just getting the ideas out there, talking about them, and if we don't agree on everything, that's fine. It's the idea of giving things a platform and talking about it, right? That's it.
Oh, totally. And it's all about lived experience, and people want to talk about maybe ideas that say we haven't talked about. I love to learn from other people of what you want to talk about. Be a guest, come on the show as a PWD or as an ally, and learn from each other. Let's learn and let's talk lots, and let's hold the politicians who make these policies. Let's hold them accountable, right? Because that's what they're elected to do. If they can't do their job, then they need to go.
That's why I encourage you all to look out in the coming months. I think the next city council meeting is October 11th, unless they call an emergency one, but I don't see them calling an emergency because there's no big official business going on in that ward. So it won't happen to the 11th. So I'm going to guess the election is going to be sometime in November or December. But keep an eye on Ward 20, and I'm telling you all right now, any people that think they're just going to waltz in and claim a city council spot.
Yep.
These have been in my closet for 2 months, man. I'm ready to go. So let's just do this. It's now official. There's going to be a by-election. And as it comes to the show, like I said, like you said, I encourage everybody to come on, share your stories. Lived experience is most important. And again, anybody, even if you hate my guts, I don't give a crap. Get a hold of Brent or Neil. Let's do a show together on, I don't know, universal basic income and housing. How about that? Let's do it. I'd even volunteer for that show.
Or we can talk about your dog.
Well, we can, but right now he's chewing my cigarette pack over there, so I don't know. And as for the dog, like I said, I was more than happy to take care of things, but that person fucked that up, so that's their problem. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about my community. I'm worried about my family. 1 second. I don't know if you can all still hear me.
Get your dog again.
But yeah, worried about the community, worried about my family. And, going forward, I'm not going to be focusing on these people anymore. Like I said before on the True North Eager Beaver podcast, which premieres every weekday on YouTube at 7 a.m. Eastern. I'm not worried about these people anymore. I'll focus on what's going on. I'll work with anybody, but I'm not going to be taking the insult to the bullshit anymore. And I also, like I said, thank the city of Toronto and the people and the colleagues that I met over the 5 years that I worked there. And I'm not going away. So, let's do this or, go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to.
I got to go lie down too. So.
Yeah, I want to have you come back on. Definitely, I'll get Neil. You guys can figure it out of when, but we'll get you on maybe even next week, sometime like maybe Friday.
Yeah, whenever you guys want.
Friday would be good.
I'll be making my own schedule, so. I'll make time anytime you guys want, man. You guys and like 2 of the other groups are people that I hold near and dear to me. It's not blowing smoke up your ass. It's just because you're real, right? And like I said, even if some of us don't get along sometimes, we know in the end that the end goal of what we want is all the same. So
exactly. So I want to thank you, Dan, for coming on. I'll give my ending statement also. Like I said, I'm going to have you come on possibly next Friday. We'll work out that sometime on Friday.
I got some free time on my hands, buddy.
Okay.
So sure.
Okay, good. Yeah, next Friday we'll do next Friday. I'll get Neil to reach out to you on that. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on, Dan. This has been a totally awesome show. Learning lots, hearing what's going on, and a message out to all the listeners and all the viewers watching right now live TV. Right now, we're going to keep, as a disability community across Canada, collectively, a lot of great ideas, a lot of great thoughts. Everyone has their inputs on what they want to see done on DERB. The Canada Disability Benefit, I've learned a lot in the last little bit of where it is, where it's going. It's a framework, just to kind of fill people in. A very overall brief thing here. it's a framework. It's a shell. There's nothing to it. Is the metaphor I used to always give is about the pot of spaghetti, right? Boil the water. That's all you asked me to do. No, I throw the noodles in. Fine, I throw the noodles in. What else? I don't know. I made the spaghetti. Okay, well, are you gonna put any seasoning in, or what are you gonna? Yeah, it's just there. So here we go. That's kind of where it's at right now with the CDB. Okay, so they now serve, right? Huh? That was done so quickly. So here's a message out to Krista Freeland, Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, Pierre Pelev, the Bloc Party, okay, whoever else who has the opportunity right now, okay, right now to have that influence of getting an emergency fund out to help Canadians with disabilities.
Listen to Benita and Mike with the e-petitions.
Please listen to Benita and Mike. They have 2 petitions out there. And even if they didn't, please listen to them. Mm-hmm. They're saying people's lives are at stake. People are choosing MAID because they can't afford to live financially. There's a problem there, okay? Financial, live. Less strain on the healthcare system. You give people the money, they're going to put it back into help themselves, to better their health. Less strain on the healthcare system. Oh, but we give money to the provinces. Stop. Okay? Put the money in people's hands. They will make their lives better for themselves. They will make choices for themselves to buy healthy food. If they don't have healthy food, what happens? Their health diminishes. Maybe they were born with a disability. Maybe they developed a disability in life. They will get other disabilities in life as they age, as they get older. We all do. Does life stop at 65 years old for the Canada Disability Benefit? No, it doesn't. It continues on. We need to respect our elders, our seniors, Indigenous people with low income. It doesn't matter who the citizen is. Oh, well, they're disabled. Anyone can become disabled. So anyone listening to this right now, they're probably agreeing, going, "Oh my God, Brent, yeah, it's me, or my cousin, my mother, my father, my caregiver, my doctor. Yeah, your doctor can become disabled. Oh, a nurse that used to be my nurse. Why I know that? Because I had a nurse who was my doctor's office once upon a time, and she was in a car accident, and guess what? She became disabled. It can happen to anybody at any time. So what I'm saying in this message is, please help the Canadians with disabilities. There's no more excuses. No more excuses. Krista Freeland, I know you have the purse string. You can make it happen. Okay? Please. And I'm not saying, you're doing this, no else. Please, listen to the people at the committee stage who have given testimonials of lived experience. Come on to the show. And I'll make it very, as anyone would know, listening to my shows, I make it a very comfortable atmosphere. We can make it very closed session. We can make it non-live, if that's what you want. We can make it a pre-recorded session. And any politician.
That's what we did for Sheila Malcolmson, and it worked out good.
We can do that for any politician. Jagmeet, if you would love to come on. Pierre Pelev, Justin Trudeau, the Bloc. Doesn't matter who it is. If you want to come on and on a one-to-one with me, and Neil's right there, we can have a conversation collectively and saying why, who's telling you not to? And that's the question I want to know. Who's telling you not to do this?
One of the big questions that I would love to ask any politician that's in charge of the purse strings is, surely they must do the cost risk analysis thing of what's the cost of us not doing this? There's, in other words, there's always a cost to poverty, right? I mean, that's been studied to death. There's a huge cost to poverty. So I don't know why more politicians, and especially those that are in charge of the budget, why they don't put more attention on what's the cost of not doing this? What's the cost of keeping people in poverty? Because it's huge. I mean,
it is huge.
I just I think I told you I don't know if a couple weeks ago I came across something and I should have bookmarked it, but I didn't. So I don't know if it was a legit thing or not, but I think it came from a legit newspaper. But somebody threw out a number. It was said that 45% of our healthcare costs are due to drugs, alcohol, or domestic abuse, or something like things that are related to poverty, or
it's related. Yeah, it's health related.
Like drugs, alcohol, or domestic abuse makes up like 45% of all, like, and I don't know if that's somebody just made up a number, but it almost makes. I mean, it almost makes like it would make sense.
There is a stat there that actually is there is the what is it, the poverty. There's a group out there. It's a not Poverty Net. I'll have to let you know.
I think it's PovNet or something like that. I think it's
PovNet. Yeah.
PovNet.
Yeah. But there was Sonia, do you remember that person that was in charge of that one organization? We went to that one time. Mm-hmm. There was that one who was a speaker in the Nanaimo. Remember that guy who we went there?
Oh, the policy note?
Policy note. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
Seth Klein.
Seth Klein. He was in charge for the policy note. He's now in charge of, when I say in charge, his position now is environmental. Now, he really focused in on a lot about legislative poverty, mm-hmm. and really held the government account. So I guess the kind of a carry on of what we're saying now is legislative poverty. It is policy. It is government policy. And hearing the minister even admit that, that it needs to change. So admitting that it needs to change, but who's in charge of it though?
Policy.
Legislative policy.
And it costs money.
It costs the healthcare.
It costs a shitload of money to keep people in poverty. So if it costs a shitload of money to keep people in poverty, why don't you try something different and give people a shitload of money to get people out of poverty? Why not do that instead?
Well, yeah.
I could tell you why, but that's a show for another day.
Yeah. No, we'll be talking on that another day for sure, because that'd be a great show to talking about that. I'll be having to get the jar out there, especially with those like, oh my God. I'll be like, Dan and
I'm trying to behave. I said it to them last Friday. My closing, how you guys do closing statements, they do similar thing, and then I'll let you guys go. But they said to me, "Hey Dan, any closing words?" I go, no, I can't talk to stupid. I can't talk to stupid. I'm getting tired of every day saying something different, somebody different, and nobody's understanding it. It's got to be a collective effort or no effort at all, man.
Yeah, totally. And, with things that have, that come up in life, there's unexpected expenses that come up, and having adequate income. And is it going to be basic income for everybody? Absolutely, right? That's what's needed to be done. RGI for everybody, basic income for everybody. Do I think that everything is going to be going robotics? That's the way it's going, folks. I know we don't want to hear it, but that's how it's going, right?
Skynet is a reality.
Yeah, because big corporations, they want to keep their profits going. Right? They want to keep the profits going. I mean, the profit margins. Jagmeet talks about this a lot. I mean, holding big corporations to account. They're making multi-billion dollars in profits. Wow. Yeah, but what are they giving back to the consumers? Higher prices. That's what they're giving back. So something's going to have to give. They say, well, local governments, shop local, support your local community, your small businesses. How do we do that? If you're going to give only $125 increase to your shelter, but you don't get that if your shelter didn't go up by a couple of dollars, right? Well, I mean, in market rent, I don't know, everyone's shelter went up, but if you don't have a fixed address, you don't get that money. Do I believe it should have went to support? Absolutely. I know one person would disagree with me on that. No. Don't put it to support. No. It all went to shelter. That's what I mean. RGI. That's RGI, and that's increase support. Let's give everybody a floor here where it's that amount. And now if you have a disability, now it's up here. Okay, so now they've got that. Oh, so one person's going to get better than the other one. Depends on where you live in the country. Cost of living in each jurisdiction is going to be different. Okay, you may benefit in one area, but everyone's going to have enough to live on. How does it get paid for? Well, ask Joseph. I'd love to have Joseph on one day. We'll have to get him on.
He'll come on soon. He's actually working on a very elaborate flowchart thing.
Oh, good.
It's pretty wild. So
yeah, and then we'll have Tom, Basic Income Tom, on again too. I love hearing their different perspectives, and that kind of goes with anybody watching this now. If you want to come on and talk about basic income, of course, I know that probably one person. Oh, I'd love to come on, but
I'll do that show. Yo, I'll do that show. I'll be the bigger man. Yo, in fact, let's put that invite out there. Let's do it. I'll do that show. Let's talk about that stuff.
Let's do it.
Speaking about ending up on the floor, if we don't end the show now, like poor Neil's gonna end up on the floor.
I know.
Yeah, poor Neil will be like, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Just be this
From me, thank you guys, and thank everybody for listening. I encourage you all to just keep on going, man. Keep on doing what you got to do, and let's. Wow, that would be an amazing show to do. Let's do that, man.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. All right, we'll make that happen. Thanks, Dan. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys. Anytime, and anybody can reach out anytime at DJT624, or feel free to subscribe at 624 Dan on YouTube. Not for clicks or likes. My 15 minutes is come and gone. I'm doing it for educational purposes, and that's it.
Awesome.
Okay. Take care, man.
Thanks everyone for tuning in today. Like, subscribe, and click all the above.
Like us, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Neil sends YouTube there, right?
Yeah. Right now.
Oh, yeah, right now. And we'll just follow along here, all the shows. Breaking with Brent. My new travel segment. Every so often, there'll give me a new segment in there. Who knows where I'll be next? And coffee time. There's coffee time too. And of course, all my lovely guests who come on the show. You want to be a guest? Please direct message Neil or myself onto Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you need to be following us in order to direct message us. So if you'd love to
there is I'll plug my website again, because there is a media tab on my website, www.daddybentlegs.com. If you go to my media tab on my website, there's a spot that says, do you want to be a guest? And even if you don't want to be a guest, you can submit a show idea, and you don't even have to put a legitimate email address in it. It can just be a fake address. It doesn't matter. Just submit any kind of idea you have, or if you want to be a guest, submit it, and it goes directly to my email, and we'll do it.
Instead of who wants to be a millionaire, who wants to be the guest?
That's right.
You know, and all seriousness, just submit your questions in, or if you want to be a guest, if you send me the direct message on Twitter, I'll just forward it on to Neil, because Neil is the editor producer. He sends you out the link. He will communicate with you and arrange what you're going to be talking about on the show. And then he lets me know who's going to be on the show. There's going to be an added feature coming up either end of this month or next month. It's going to be coming very soon. I've been hinting all along about this added feature. So it's going to be exciting.
I don't believe you now, Brent.
No,
I think you're just pulling my leg.
Yeah. I'll get Dan to handle. I'll get Dan to handle the calls, and
there you go.
Yeah.
You do that, your poor phone company will cancel out on you, buddy. There'll be so many F words coming out the side.
No, but anyway, we'll definitely talk, and looking forward to having you on next week there, Dan.
I look forward to seeing the rest of your guests too, because everybody has something to contribute, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely. Right. Thank you everyone for tuning in today, and look forward to having the next guest on very soon. You want to be the guest? You know what to do.